All right, guys. So welcome to another episode of the Northern Nerdcast. I just wanted to welcome Mike finally. I feel like every time we joke that we're going to get you on, it's like Matt Damon on Jimmy Kimmel. Matt Damon wanted to be here tonight, but we ran out of time. And also Robin from Playcadia.ca as well as GameX. Welcome and thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me on.
Wow, I timed that coffee drink poorly. So today I wanted to get you guys and Clayton on just to basically go over how COVID has really just screwed everything up in terms of planning shows. Like even buying and selling, like it's all panic buying and all that. So I just wanted to talk about stuff like that. So like how do you find COVID's affected GameX? Like, because we haven't announced anything and obviously we can't. So
Yeah. I would say from a GameX standpoint, last year I was going to make some pretty big waves. I had some solid sponsors lined up. I was going to do a partnership with a company that essentially manages experiential marketing campaigns for large companies like Microsoft, Sony, those kind of guys. So we were in the works of finalizing a contract there, and then COVID hit, so that threw everything out the window. But I think what it's given me time to do is kind of pivot the company a little bit. I focused on Playcadia because I still needed to generate some revenue to put into GameX. So I started that. That's been doing really well. For this year, what I've kind of done is taken this opportunity to kind of rebrand. So we've got a new website up, new branding up, because my goal now is to go after some of the bigger sponsors. If you take a look around at where the gaming industry is going, there's a lot of big players that are coming into it now. There's esports celebrities that are being signed to large contracts with automotive companies and different companies of that nature. So people are seeing that gaming it's been around for a while, and I think it's been growing at an exponential rate over the past few years. And now it's getting to the point where companies like even HP, companies like your typical Nintendo, Sony's, those guys, they're looking for ways to attract their audience. And right now, if you take a look at it, we have EGLX in Canada, which is the biggest game show by far, but that's only one event. So if you're a large organization like a Microsoft or a Sony or something like that, you can do one big event like an EGLX, but then you see a significant drop off because you're not nurturing those clients over time with smaller campaigns. So that's kind of where I want to pivot GameX into is pitch it as like a more community driven event, not at the scale of EGLX, but it still accomplishes the same thing. It gets these big brands in the room with their base core audience.
Mike, same question.
Yeah, so for the Game Expo, I think our event, it made me sit back and realize that not just video games, like we want to introduce like Pokemon cards, Yu-Gi-Oh cards, Magic, that they've all been taken off the last few months, especially Pokemon. So when we continue our show, we're going to look into bring in some different types of vendors just to keep everyone interested. Sudbury is a different market, and we really rely on the local businesses that help drive our marketing. Without them, none of this would be possible. We tried a couple of years ago to get some game developers, but it seemed really, really hard to get game developers to commit to come up here. So last year we had planned to switch our advertising a bit. Like we were going with a different radio station because it appealed to our market more. And it just sucked because we really felt like with the changes we were going to do, like we're going to spend money on signs because people see signs, they'll go. Remember those signs we were going to print out? Those election signs there. Mm-hmm. I just feel like the more word got out about our show, more people would attend. So that's where we were really focused on, and it just sucks a bit, but it's given us time to step back. And I think with our new advertising campaign, it's going to draw the numbers up, and then the year after that, maybe we could get some game developers to come attend our show.
I think in general too, though, like, COVID really put everything to a screeching halt. But I mean, whenever we get the okay to safely reopen, and like we as in the province, I can see. I see people clamoring for shows. Like I get asked almost all the time, like, hey, when is this gonna happen? Like the demand's there, and I can actually see more people coming to like all of our shows. You'll obviously have those people that are nervous and not wanting to go out, but I would say, I don't know, 75-80% of the people don't care, and I mean they'll come regardless. So it's I think we'll, like, everyone will see a big increase in numbers just because it gets people out of their houses. They can interact where, like, doing what we're doing is good, but on a smaller scale. Like you don't have the camaraderie, like, hey, let's go cosplay at this show, and it's just not there with this kind of stuff. So I can see a nice little boost in numbers for everybody. So
I think for us too, like for our show, it's Sudbury. It's a little different because it's 5 hours north of Toronto, 4.5 hours north of Toronto, and people, like, we're not going to get audience, like people from down south to come to our show. So we're more focused on the population of Sudbury and the surrounding areas, North Bay, Timmins, maybe, who might travel to our show. So we're really focused on bringing more stuff that'll appeal to everyone, not just video games.
Yeah.
But video games still being our main focus because, like with GraphicCon, there's a graphic art, where the video games, if we could start dipping into little stuff like cards and stuff, and maybe even sports
sounds like a
memorabilia.
rebrand.
Yeah, like it's something we might have to consider doing, is rebranding it a bit. But like Robin was saying, this has given him time to rebrand and really focus on his Playcadia store, so he can generate revenue through that. And like I think he's doing a good job from what I've seen. Yeah. How are your sales doing so far, Robin?
They've been doing really well. So I think just in terms of volume, so the number of sales that I'm getting. So I opened the store in November. I think November 5th or 15th is when we launched, and I've completed over 200 orders in that time. So
nice.
It's been really good.
And big orders, like from what I've seen, like you're helping people start their collections that are starting later on in life, and like the biggest one I think I saw was that Xbox one.
There's a bigger one. Somebody bought 185 PS2 games from me.
Huh.
Last week.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
your best seller. What's your best seller right now? Is it? Oh, sorry.
Sorry?
What's your best seller right now? Like, what video game is it? Like the disc, like PS1, PS2, GameCube?
I think N64 is the hottest.
Okay.
I can't keep Mario Kart 64 in stock, no matter how much I keep increasing the price. Same with Mario Party. But I think I've only, before I used to do this out of my house, or like out of a storage unit, but I recently just signed a lease for like an industrial unit that I can house all of this inventory and fulfill it out of. But I only have a limited amount of space. So what I'm trying to focus on now is kind of move away from stuff that everybody is selling, and kind of position myself as being like the high-end guy, the guy that can get like the really high-end stuff, because it's less real estate that's taking up space in the unit. And there's fewer people that are competing for it. There's fewer people that are selling it. And the people that are buying it, they're niche buyers. And I think they're ready, and their appetite is strong for it. Not sure if you guys are familiar with heritage auctions, but there's games that are going for ridiculous prices. Sealed stuff, graded stuff has grown exponentially over the past 12 months. And I just feel like the US market is well ahead of Canada when it comes to the high-end stuff. But lately what I'm noticing is a lot more people are selling sealed items, and a lot more people are out there looking to buy sealed items.
So like it also seems like grading, like graded stuff is taking off big time. Like I mean, I don't know how well that would do up here, but like everything I see now is graded. Like even that one person that got that, what was it, an NES game that was like written on in permanent marker, it was labeled a 1.
Yeah.
Like everyone's getting stuff graded, and it seems like it's just to get it graded. So I mean, I got a couple. We had talked about like a couple of my Vita stuff that's sealed pristine, but I'll like you're the expert on that. If you say hold off for now, I'll hold off for now. But I mean, like I've got 2 of them for sure that I'm interested down the road in grading. So
Brad, I'm getting this graded, by the way.
I think that'll do really well.
Yeah.
I think just
one of a kind.
something you mentioned before, Brad, about you don't know how well it would do in Sudbury. I don't think it would do good at all because people don't even like completing box stuff up here. Our market, they just want to relive their childhood, play it. Yeah, like I talked to Cal and Lisa, they can't even sell the complete box stuff. So I highly doubt the seal stuff would sell. But like Robin said, it's really, really niche and the people know what they want. So I can see that doing well for you.
I think, yeah, if you're looking for box stuff, though, you can basically go online, right? Which is what everybody's forced to do right now.
Yeah.
I mean, we all have our copies of Fire Emblem, right, Mike?
Yeah,
Robin
we still have
doesn't
some of those.
anymore.
Hey, I have the same ones that I got from Mike, like, I don't know, 2-3 years ago.
Yeah, me
Probably
too.
longer than that.
Love
I
a good
have
memory
6 or
looking at
7
that.
I'm going to get graded. I'm just waiting for the right time because I heard it's like backlogged like a year. You don't get it back, or is that still the case, Robin?
So there's 2 primary grading companies that people tend to go with. One is VGA and one is WADA. WADA is the one that I grade with more so than VGA, and WADA has a few different tiers. The lowest tier is a 170 business day turnaround windows, which equates to around 9 months without any delays. But they've had so many orders that they've taken that out, so you're no longer able to get that tier. I know I sent something in for grading in October, and my order number was like 7964, and then I just sent another batch in like last week, and it's close to like 9345. So they've had almost 1,500 orders in the past 3 months, and an order typically is more than one game. So I sent 30 games in last week. So if you take a look at 30 games times 1,500, we're looking at like 45,000 games that they have to. But not everybody sends in 30 games, but I'm using that as an example. That's like 45,000 games that they have to go through, plus all of the delays caused by COVID for the cases. Then you factor in social distancing measures and all that stuff. So they're really, really backed up right now.
Like when you send in games, do they like what we're supposed to do? Do they sit in quarantine for a little bit? Like did you just mention that, like, and I missed it, or?
So they don't. The WADA process is the one that I'm more familiar with. Typically what happens is you ship the games out to them. When they're received, they have a receiving, like a team of receivers that take the game from like the receiving area and then move it to like different areas based on what your tier is. So I just sent something in that's at the 15-day turnaround tier. They're saying it's taking anywhere between 2 to 8 business days to actually take the games from receiving and then drop them into the right tiers, and then your process starts. Oh, wow. So that's looking at, if you're factoring in shipping time, you're looking at around like 10 to 12 days of holding before it gets actually seen by somebody.
And you got one of the Fire Emblems graded, I think, it was graded in 8. Was that one of the ones you got off me, or?
Yeah, that was. So I sent, so I think I got 10 from you. I gave 2 away to friends, so that was left with 8. 1 my dog ate, so that leaves me with 7. I got 2 graded through VGA, and then I just sent another 3 to WADA last week, and then I have a couple raw.
Because I remember telling you to pick the 10 from the bucket, and you're like, no, I'll take whatever, and you just randomly picked 10.
Yeah.
I kind of feel bad now because you could have picked like nicer ones, you know.
That's all good, man. Honestly, like I'm learning so much about grading because I'm pretty new to it. There's guys that are way more knowledgeable than I am, but what I'm learning is when you're taking a look at a sealed game, what do you tend to look for? So in the past, I would just look at like, oh man, this looks pristine. I'm gonna buy this. This is mint. Half the time it's not mint. Like they're really picky in terms of even how tight the shrink wrap is around the game, even though it's open. Sometimes you'll see like a PS game that has like a really tight shrink wrap. Sometimes you'll see a PS1 game with like little waves in the plastic. So that affects the grade as well. So I'm learning a lot. The good thing with the Fire Emblems that you had was that they had an outer seal, then they had the French manual inside sealed, and then the outer seal.
Yeah, so, like I taken some off of it, and like I took one with the French manual off, and it was like in that, like it was pushed in the back, like you wouldn't have been able to see it without the French manual. I'm like, oh, that kind of sucks. But I found when selling them, it was easier to sell taking the French manual off, actually, because then people in the States don't realize that it's Canadian version, right?
It wasn't a reseal like a lot of people said it was.
Like I have one on eBay right now, and it's done in an hour, I think, and I'm curious to see what it's going to go for. But I have 48 people watching it, so be interested to see how much it goes for.
Nice.
But it had like it wasn't the best condition one. Like there's like an indent on the side, so that's why I listed that one. But there's 6 of them that I put aside that. Maybe I'll get your advice before I send them in. So next time, I'm patient. Like I don't care. So next time I see you when the pandemic's over, I'll see which ones are worthwhile to send in.
I think.
Is there anything else you want?
Oh no. So yeah, I was just gonna say if you guys are considering grading anything, if you have something that's cartridge based and it's a good, it's from a good franchise. So like a Fire Emblem is from a good franchise. They have multiple games that were released. Even if unless it's like a really shitty grade, I would still send it for grading. You're gonna, at most, you will break even, and in the best case scenario, you will increase the value by quite a bit. And in regardless, you're going to be able to preserve it in the best condition that it can be at the time that you sent it in for grading. So
that's a really good point. It preserves that condition. I didn't even think of it. So even 5 years down the road, because I want to sit on them, I don't want to. So then I could preserve it you don't have to worry about a dog eating it.
Yeah, it's true.
Or accidentally throwing out a game in the garbage.
Yeah.
So
any other subjects you wanted to go on, Brad?
Well, no, like I know talking about rebrands, I don't know if you wanted to say what our plan was, because I know we had talked about that before, like how we could like even doing the name change that we had discussed. Like, I mean, I don't know what the plan ultimate plan is, but I mean, I think that if you want to make that announcement, we can. It's up to you though.
Yeah, like I'm not sure if we're going to keep it as Northern Game Expo for now or rebrand it to NostalgiaCon, because I think like NostalgiaCon would work because if we're going to bring in vendors that have all types of stuff, not just video games, anything that's nostalgic, I love the name NostalgiaCon. And
we did that in North Bay.
Yeah, we did it in North Bay, and I think when people hear NostalgiaCon, from the people that brought the Northern Game Expo bring NostalgiaCon, people will start thinking, then we can get recognized as being a nostalgic that has all types of stuff, Pokemon cards, video games. So
well, even last time you guys had like half of the floor space, like literally the place was cut in half, or not last time, but when it was at Cambrian College.
Yep.
You guys had it cut in half, and half the floor space was dedicated to vendors who were not dealing video games, just like pop memorabilia and stuff like that. So
yeah, and we had artists, we had pop. Yeah.
It's like everything's in the name too. Like when you hear Northern Game Expo, like a lot of people come just expecting games, and then it's like a surprise to see comics and stuff. And not necessarily a bad thing, but like if you change the name to something nostalgic, then people know it's like an all-in-one kind of thing. Like even you're talking about baseball cards, and because like I've seen a lot of stores now selling these Legends cards and stuff. So I mean, I don't know anything about that, but it seems like it's this new thing. And Pokemon, for whatever reasons, got a resurge. So it's interesting to see, like, just to take the potential rebrand like that and just to put it towards an already growing show. So it's kind of cool.
What are your guys? Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. I was just gonna say, after 5 years though of having Northern Game Expo as the brand, like that name is the brand now. So you guys have to make sure that once you start advertising it as NostalgiaCon, that you push really, really hard that NostalgiaCon is replacing the name of the show.
Yeah.
So that people are like, well, what is this, a new show? What is this? You know, they already know what it is going into it.
And we might have to do an epic video where it's like I'm wearing a Northern Game Expo
t-shirt. I'm still waiting for that basketball video that we shot. Like I still have
all the raw footage. I still have all the raw footage. I still have everything.
Yeah. So it'll be nostalgic to wear a face mask, right?
Yeah.
So just I don't know if Robin, if you knew this or not, but we had partnered up with the local like OHL and the Canadian basketball team, the Sudbury Five. We got custom made video game jerseys. We were supposed to be doing this the big video game night at the arena that we were hosting with Cal and Lisa at Comics North. And then of course, COVID just literally shut everything down. But Clayton filmed this epic video and like we were actually allowed to do it on the court, which was kind of cool. So hopefully we can see this what if video soon. But yeah, like the jerseys are pretty sweet. I was very happy with how they turned out, and the winner of the NBA Jam tournament that we were going to be putting on was going to get their own jersey. Like the score said 0-0 and the name on the back was Boom Shakalaka. So
because Fred Van Vliet might have some competition because I was draining threes like no one's business.
Yeah, that was awesome.
I think it took me like 20 tries to actually hit a three.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I distinctly remember that.
I can honestly, I can see like just a surge of shows happening if everything comes back as planned, like for the fall. I just see a show literally every week. Everyone's going to be either stepping on each other or it's just going to work out where everyone's kind of got a week to go in between. But that's what I see happening. It's going to be a madhouse. Everyone's going to want to get out there.
I think to a degree, yes. I think there's still a level of uncertainty when it comes to like congregating into big groups. I think COVID's definitely done a big number with that. If you take a look at the past, like we used to pack, like both of us, like we used to pack rooms with people with barely enough room to even like walk shoulder to shoulder. It was nuts.
Yeah.
And going from the situation that we've been in for a year and then going directly into something like that, I think that's going to take it's going to take some serious movements from a vaccination standpoint. It's going to have to take some serious movements in terms of just people feeling safe to go out and do that kind of stuff. Because in the past, you wouldn't think twice. It wouldn't be like,
No,
hey,
exactly.
if I go to the show, I could possibly get really sick. That was never a thought. Mm-hmm. So, I think there's different opportunities that are presenting itself. One thing that I'm looking at for GameX is possibly hosting it outside. Depending on where we are with the restrictions come summertime, because usually I only do one show a year, and summer's kind of become my niche. It's like June or July. So I think that's when we had the least amount of restrictions last year. So if that carries over for this year as well, what I envision is like a smaller, more intimate show. And then we just, when you're looking at buying a ticket, you're not going to buy a ticket for the full show. You'll buy a ticket for maybe like a 2-hour window.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, yeah, we have to just adapt with the times. I think we're in a tough spot, and a lot of different event companies are facing the same challenges that we are. Unfortunately for both of us, we're not able to go online and do a virtual show because the basis of both of the shows is the buying, selling, and trading of games, and you can't do that online. Yeah. So it's like, what's the next step? What else can we try? So I think doing it outside might make sense, but I still have to speak to the city. I still have to speak to like different areas that would even accommodate that. But that's one thing we're possibly considering.
Hey, Robin, are you still considering doing a show this year or yeah. Okay?
I'm thinking about it. Like for me, safety is the biggest thing. So it depends on where we are. If like I would start planning maybe in like March or April, but we're still in lockdown. So if we're still in lockdown at that time, I'm just going to push it back. And then if it happens, great. If it doesn't, I'm still working on the back, trying to establish new partnerships, trying to bring new people on board for sponsorships. My goal last year was I actually had a couple of partners lined up, and we were going to do GameX in 3 cities. So we were going to do Mississauga. We were going to possibly do like GameX West, GameX South, which would have been Windsor. And then we were going to do like GameX closer to like Ottawa, Gatineau area. But, COVID hit and I wasn't able to build out that formula, because I feel like for the Mississauga show, the formula is built. But if I can take the show and even have like a percentage of the level of success in different cities, then that's an easier sell to larger sponsors. So instead of them just coming and committing to one show, they're having their name recognized throughout the year, multiple cities, multiple shows.
Right on, that's cool.
Yeah, up where I was actually during the summertime was thinking of doing something small up here, but I mean, obviously it didn't work out, but because I'm in a totally different city now than Sudbury, but there's an outdoor arena that's completely enclosed, similar to what we were looking at when we were in North Bay. But who knows if it ends up working out? Like there's that, like I'm about 20 minutes away from the Quebec border, and like I'm on Marketplace almost every day, and 90% of the video game posts are from this town near me. So and like the border's not closed, but I mean it should be. But they would come. Like I put feelers out, and like the 90% of my answers were in French. So, but like the demand for something smaller is definitely here. So it's something I'm looking at exploring, but we'll see what happens come that time. But yeah, no, it sucks, but like it's just something we have to roll with. Like you said, like shows will never be the same. I mean, and if we ever go back to how it was, then great. But I can't see it being packed wall to wall. Like I still have a picture on Facebook. Actually, it's the background picture for our Northern Game Expo page of the Caruso Club at, I want to say 1:00, and it was just pandemonium. Like it was insane.
Yeah.
And we won't get that ever again. But I mean, you never know. Things could go back to normal, but I don't see that happening. It would be nice.
I remember when we were running the PSVR exhibit downstairs at the Caruso Club, and there was a steady lineup from one end of the room to the other, and there were 2 stations going, and the whole room was full, and it didn't slow down until the end. But most of that, and this, you can't discount the casuals and the curious, right? Like you're going to have the people that you're going to miss out on coming back immediately are going to be the casuals and the curious, the people who just see something to do, go out, and then they want to do it. The first people who are going to show back up are going to be the more hardcore people who are there to actually look to buy and sell. So yeah, your numbers are going to be down for a while until things actually get back to normal, whatever you want to call normal.
Yeah. It's funny. It's a good point you bring up, because when we refunded our vendors, when this hit, we gave everyone the option to refund, but no guarantee to book a table going forward. So less might be more for our next show. Like we might not be able to sell as many tables because we want our vendors to do good, right?
Yeah, a lot of the vendors rolled over, so it kind of worked out in that sense too.
Yeah. But we can't project how many people are going to come back our first show back. So if the numbers are down, then as long as the vendor tables are like not maximized to, I think what we were selling was 75, 80 tables and 15 booths, about 15, 20% of that we refunded and gave back. And now times have changed. We might, like those vendors that left us, like video games, we're looking for like maybe Pokemon cards now, right? So they might get replaced quickly, and that's what we said to them, like, we'll refund you now, but going forward it's not a guarantee. And it's like that with all the businesses, like the booth rentals. I had paid half the money down. They offered to refund us right away, but the prices might change when it gets back to normal, right? So we said, don't worry, just keep the money. No guaranteed, and it's not no one's fault. It's just the way it is, right? So
yeah. What are you guys' plans for 2021? Are you just waiting and seeing, or are you actively planning to show this year?
So right now it's just a wait and see. So we're gonna wait until April, May, and hopefully the vaccines are starting to roll out, and then we're gonna plan something for hopefully the end of August. And then and if that doesn't work, once we know Cameron College's schedule and we're given the green light, we can see what days are available all the way up until October. But if we don't know by like mid-June, July, like I said, the end of June, July, we might just cancel for this year and focus on 2022.
Yeah.
It's a crapshoot, really, like because we don't know what's going to happen. And so it's just take it month to month. And Ford's supposed to be lifting the lockdown stay-at-home orders next week, but we'll see what happens. I mean,
But I think it's like we're not going to be able to do these events until 75% of people are vaccinated. So it's just a matter of I think they projected the end of August, September. So I just don't see there being a show this year. I could be wrong.
Even if sorry, go ahead.
But we're just gonna wait as long as we can before we make an announcement. But we need a good 2-3 months to plan for it. So
the nice thing though is most of our planning and advertisements and stuff is we're set, because it's just like we had everything from last year.
Yeah, and we got really lucky because we were just about to start printing everything. I was just about to make the orders, and that's when COVID hit. So as COVID got shut everything down, the beginning of March?
End of March.
6 weeks. Yeah, so I procrastinated by like a week. Like I think it was March 12th to 15th. So about 6 weeks before our show, right when I ordered all the stuff. So we got lucky we didn't order everything, especially if we're considering rebranding.
Yeah. I was gonna say, even if they raise the lockdown tomorrow and they left it unlocked, like they left everything out of lockdown for the rest of the year, you're still going to have, there's still going to be an adjustment period of public trust for events and large gatherings like that. So your numbers would be down this year regardless. So even, like I said, even if they did it tomorrow, having a show later on in the year, there would still be no guarantee that it would even be worth it to have it this year. Whereas you might want to just roll over into next year and try it.
Exactly. And I think, I don't know, I can't speak on Brad's behalf, but for me, I have 2 young kids, and even 2022, like knowing that we could start fresh with 2022 once this is all behind us would be good. But if we can do it safely, and the projections are that everyone's going to be vaccinated by the end of September, October, we'll try to do it. But if we don't have an answer by June or July, where it's clearly showing that it can be done, then we're not gonna bother. We're just wait.
So I've got a 4-minute warning before it shuts us off completely. So like I always do at the end of every of my things, Robin, if you want to tell people where they can find you, information about the show, your webpage, everything.
Before you go, Robin, you could eat up the rest of the 4 minutes, because I don't really have a place where people can go, and like I don't really sell games much anymore, so I'll give it to you there.
Thanks. I think for me, like if people are looking to buy games, check out my website. It's Playcadia. That's PLAYCADIA.ca. I'm always accessible on Facebook, so Robin Danger there. And then for the show for GameX, it's just GameXTO.com. Right now, the website is still under construction, so there's a lot of dummy text there. I've just been focused on so many other projects. I haven't really had an opportunity to go in and fix that up. But I think, you guys have done an exceptional job with Northern Gaming Expo. I think I've been there for almost like 3 years now. Not the first show, but at least like your second, third.
You were there during that torrential storm. I think that was the first year.
I was there. That was a cold day, but it was fun. You always do a great job with everything, so it's great to see.
Well, thanks for your kind words. We always love going to your show, and we can't wait till things get back to normal so we can do a road trip. Stop and get some wings. And
2 for 4 wings, and you're getting a shout out too. Best wings in Toronto.
Yeah. Hey Robin, do you like chicken wings?
Yeah, I love wings.
So there's a place, Eglinton and Weston. It's called 244 Pizza. They have the best chicken wings in the city.
They're better. They're better the next day too. Cold.
So I used to live in Toronto near Jane and Eglinton.
Oh.
So it was a local pizza shop not far from me. And my grandma lives on the corner of Eglinton and Weston in those apartment buildings.
Yeah.
So I used to play like soccer down at the field there at Jane and or was it Eglinton and Jane and Eglinton?
Okay.
Yeah, so I used to play in that field all the time, and like that's the area I grew up in. I went to Runnymede Collegiate there.
Nice.
Just don't expect them to answer the phone because they take forever.
Yeah, but they're and not only are their wings the best, they're the cheapest. You could get 100 wings for like $43.99.
Mike would know. When the last
Yeah.
VGLX we went to, he got like 900 wings.
Yeah, and the hot, like I like hot wings. It's a flavored hot sauce. I'll send you a picture after. It's the best
Send
wings.
it to me, man. Send it. I love wings.
This has turned into an excellent plug for that place for the last 4 minutes.
Yeah, we need to get sponsorship through them. Like I want to drive down for the Super Bowl, like just
Super
and I'll
Bowl
drive
wings.
back.
Sponsor us.
Yeah,
Get a drone. That's the next.
free wings. That's all I want is free wings anytime I come down to see Robin's show.
Awesome.
Or vent at Robin's show.
Perfect. Well, thanks again, guys, for coming on. It's about to shut me off, so I appreciate your time, and I'll have this. I'm not technologically sound with stuff like this, so it'll be probably up tomorrow. I don't really edit or anything like that, so just shoot from the hip and go. But
Awesome.
no, I appreciate you guys coming on, and we got to do this again.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having us, guys.
All right, take care.
Take care.